It's 8 o'clock on Sunday, December 3rd, 2023, and moving the cows to the third. Is that right? It should be the third cell. Yeah, this is the third cell of this third row. And I saw something that I didn't see before in this row, but I see it now. I'll show you what I mean. You can see it too. So, yeah, I think it's right here. I don't know if you can see it very well. So, oh no, it's over here. Yeah, now you can. Yeah, I definitely see it here. Okay, I'm gonna stand on a line. Boop, right there. You see it? The left side has been grazed recently, and the right side has been untouched. So I'm standing right now in the last little area that I used to feed the cows hay while I was waiting for the grass to grow before I started the November 10th rotation. And so we were last here, let's just say November 9th, right? And right now it's December 3rd. So it's been almost 4 weeks since we've been to this area. And, you know, my question to you is, did the grass grow? Has it recovered? The answer is obviously no. It's not recovered at all. It's green, and you can see some tiny blades, but the grass really hasn't recovered, you know. So we've had probably a couple days in the 70s, mostly days in the 60s, and some days in the 50s since then, right? So it hasn't been cold. So I think my winter starts early or mid-November and not in January like I thought. So next year I'm going to plan the grass to stop growing in November, you know, barring unforeseen conditions that would cause it to continue to grow. One of the reasons why I didn't get a lot of autumn grass this year, and this is one of the, not the regrets per se, but observations, I guess. Aspirations versus actual observation, right? So what I hoped would happen is we get a little bit of growing in the autumn that could bide their time until the winter, right? But what actually happened was we had a warm early autumn, a warm and dry early autumn, and we didn't quite get out of the drought until a couple weeks ago. So we did get a little bit of rain here and there, but it just wasn't enough to really make a big difference. And that, and combined with the heat, like I think we had 80-degree days in October, which is not very typical. It's not completely unusual, but it's not very typical either, right? And September, if I recall correctly, was in the hundreds. Like we had 100-degree days, or at least high 90s in September, right? So the autumn season was really short. We kind of went from summer and then a very, very short autumn, and then now we're in winter, the winter growing pattern. So that's kind of what happened. So that happens, I guess, from time to time, you know. The guy that I was taking advice from earlier this year about the rotations, he says he doesn't get much cool season grass at all because the Bermuda grass that he grows is so strong that it doesn't allow the spring grass to grow at all. So and what that means is that by the time he's done grazing in the autumn and he gets into winter, the Bermuda grass is still very thick, and we can see that in that part of the field down there. The Bermuda grass is still well over a foot thick in many places, some places almost 2 feet thick probably, right? And so that just doesn't allow sunlight to penetrate to the bottom layer where the growing autumn and spring grass can really do much with it. And I imagine over time it just basically kills those seeds and destroys them. And I can't help but wonder if some of that was happening here, but it doesn't make much sense because there's not a lot of Bermuda grass here. So I think another consideration that I have to be cognizant of, I have to be aware, is that the soil nutrition is just poor. And I know that Greg Judy, he uses two things that he puts in the soil when he gets a new field. And the first is he'll sometimes lime the field if it's really acidic. And the other thing that he'll put down is phosphorus. Oftentimes the field just needs a little kick in the pants to get started. And then with those two things in place, he'll often seed clovers, right? Legumes and things like that. He'll take what seems to be a field that's not really doing that well. But he's probably grazed it once or twice by that time, but he basically stays off it because there's nothing to eat. And then he'll put down clover seeds at the right time of year. I think it's springtime is when he likes to put it down. So the thing is he doesn't just leave the field alone. He actually does things to it. Now, the difference between Greg Judy and me is Greg Judy's been doing this for decades, and I've only been doing this for a few years. And one of the bits of advice that I heard, and that I think is a good idea, is to just let your field grow and see what comes up. If it's like native grass species, then you kind of won at life's lottery. But especially a field like this, which has been continuously worked for at least 100 years. There's stuff down there that somebody put down a long time ago, and they had the right idea when they put it down there, or at least a good idea. But we kind of have to know what's already here before we start going around and messing with it. So I think this next year, 2024, is going to be the year that I really pay attention to what's growing and what's not. And at that point, I need to make decisions about whether I keep leaving it alone or whether I start bringing in different species of cover crops and grasses and stuff like that. Because if 2024 is like 2023 in terms of grass, I don't really see, like, it could be 2024 is just an amazing year with bunches and bunches of grass and grass coming out of my ears. I don't know what to do with it all. It could be that 2024 is worse than 2023, in which case I'd say, oh boy, I have to really rethink what I'm doing because I'm doing something terribly wrong. Or if 2024 is the same as 2023 or similar, then I put the 2 dots on the map on the graph, and I get a ruler and draw a straight line through the 2 points, and I realize that it's not going to change. And if that's the case, then that's not my goal. My goal is not to build a pasture where I can only graze 30 cows. I want a pasture that can graze 60, maybe even 90 cows. I want to increase the productivity of the soil by a factor of 2 or 3. So, and if I'm not seeing increases like that, then I'm going to start trying some other things and see what happens. Anyway, guys, have a great day. Take care and bye-bye.